Welcome to the Resilience Chronicles, Chapter 9. I can't believe we're on Chapter 9, y'all. Here coming to you raw, unfiltered, and uncut as always. Man, I've been wanting to get on here for like the last 3 weeks. So much has happened, as always. And at first it was just boom, 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 and there was no time to carve out to be on here for however long this conversation is going to take. But then I found myself having the time but not making it for like the last week or so. I've been in my new apartment. I'll talk about that more in a minute. And I've just been chilling. And honestly, kind of bored. And there's like a big revelation for me because not really bored. Like I like to say I don't get bored. I have so much that I want to do all the time. But I think what I mean by that is it currently feels boring compared to the crazy roller coaster that I've been on for however fucking long. So it's actually kind of a good thing and like probably much needed just chill time. And I think I often I come on here to film these when things are really fucking alive. And they were really alive for a minute. And I think so the relative neutralness, boringness, non-intenseness, I think has kept me from just turning on the camera and talking. So today I decided it's time. There's so much happening, so much that has happened that I want to chronicle. So let me go back and catch you guys up. Oh yeah, I really want to talk about the liminal space that I'm in, but maybe I'll kind of do that at the end because that's part of this. I think what feels boring to me, I'm not like I'm just sitting around doing nothing. I've been working hard at building my empire, doing a lot. But I think I'm in the kind of, I don't even want to call it tedious, but the building, the setup, the foundations, really just doing that work that, again, it feels more boring. And I haven't seen the tangible assets, results, the tangible stuff come through yet. So it's a little it's also kind of uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable space to be in. But it's a really important space to learn to be okay being in. Because, it just is. We enter these liminal spaces so much in life. I'm very distinctly in chapter 3 of my Vegas adventure, and it's a very distinctly different chapter than the first 2 chapters. And it is this one that is, I'm in the phase where I'm really planting my roots now. And that work feels a lot more boring than just riding this fucking, exciting wave of stuff. So, yeah, maybe more on that in a bit. But first, let me go back and catch you up. Because I think, there was Vegas Adventure chapter 1 when I first got here. And fuck, that was fucking terrifying. And all of that stuff that was happening. It's also really interesting because I'm going to tell you in a minute these stories and almost how I had almost an exact repeat of some of these things, but in a different way, on a different level. And it varies, people talk about, growth is an upward spiral. And sometimes people get really confused because when they feel like they're growing, learning, doing, and they encounter some of the same problems, it can feel like a setback or like you're not doing something right. But the reality is that we will encounter these things again, and we get to respond to them differently and engage with them differently with our newer learning, with our growth. We get to embody the things we ideally have integrated so that we can show up and respond differently to potentially similar things. So really distinctly, right? So there's chapter 1 when I'm basically homeless, really shitty financial situation, just fucking having driven across the country, fucking not really sure I'm gonna make it work, but just gonna try to make it work, and then all this shit's going wrong. I got frauded the first day I moved here, which took half of the money that I fucking had, and then it didn't come back right away. It was 2 fucking weeks before it came back, and usually it doesn't take that long. And then in the meantime, I'm trying to go work, but then I almost get fucking arrested for a 20-year-old fucking warrant. that I didn't even know I had. Had to like deal with cleaning that up. That was like scary. Walking into situations that were super intimidating, and oh yeah, all this after like the fucking car saga with like not even being able to get out of St. Pete for so long because my car kept fucking breaking down and costing me like fucking $4,000 in a month. Anyway, so all that happened, right? And then then there's Vegas Adventure chapter 2, where I just basically quantum fucking leaped in so many ways, but very like in the tangible world, like had a really solid steady paycheck for, I guess there's been like one other time in my life where I've had an actual steady paycheck, but it's like that's not like a normal thing for an entrepreneur like me. So steady paycheck, getting paid handsomely, what felt like being myself. And then we're gonna talk about what that kind of turned into, because now that chapter is over. But yeah, that was great. So like Vegas Adventure chapter 2 of that whole experience, and I'll talk about what the end of that in a minute here. And then now we're in Vegas Adventure chapter 3, which is just fully like building my own foundation, creating my own empire in this whole new way, with all of these integrated experiences from the last few months of this fucking crazy growth portal vortex thing that I've been in. So let's go back and talk about, because I think I haven't really talked about the last half of chapter 2 yet. So I had mentioned that I had met this guy who wanted to give me the money that I would be making working, so that I didn't have to work, so that I could spend time with him and pursue all my other goals and dreams, which was initially great. Had a great time. It was an amazing opportunity, really fucking cool, so much fun. Got to do and experience a lot of things that are parts of me that I hadn't really gotten to fully do in the world yet. So fucking great, cool experience. And then I was staying in that place, in the first place that I landed when I got here, where the sphere was in my backyard. That was super fucking cool. But I was staying with this lovely French dancer who was one of the shows here, but he was towards the end of his contract, and he was kind of week to week at the end. So I knew it was only a temporary situation. But yeah, there, like at one point it's like I was gonna be able to stay for another month, but then a few days later he messaged me that we needed to be out like the next week. So I had like 6 days to find a new place to stay, and I was not really prepared to do that so soon. I'd had the feeling that like I wanted to live alone, I wanted to get my own place, but I wasn't ready to do that in 6 days. And I didn't want to be rushed into like signing a year lease on like that kind of urgency. And this guy I had been seeing offered to let me come and stay with him. So I was faced with this decision, because I knew I didn't really want to be moving in with somebody like that so soon, but I also didn't want to be rushed into signing a lease on a place that was found in urgency and not full alignment. And so it was a really great fucking opportunity. I mean, this dude was super wealthy, so this super fucking beautiful house, like, $2 million mini mansion up on the hill in Henderson with the most beautiful fucking view of Las Vegas. And he was, offering me the master suite, which is fucking gorgeous. There's a fucking chandelier over the bathtub. Like, the entire wall was like a sliding glass door. And again, just the fucking epic view of the valley and the strip and the fucking moon and the mountain. And it was just, oh God, it was so gorgeous. So it was an opportunity that I was like, not gonna say no to. Now, I went into that situation knowing like it's probably not a forever situation, kind of have no idea how this is gonna go. It might go really poorly, but fuck it, let's try it. And the other thing to understand about this situation is like, we were in a dom-sub relationship, and the agreement was this was a lifestyle relationship. Like, I am a femdom. He wanted to be a sub. He wanted to try this out. He was kind of in this place in his life where that's what he was being called to do. So initially, full want matches on the situation. It was great. But then, of course, he basically ended up being just like any other guy who shows you the absolute best parts of them in the beginning, does not show you anything else. tells you everything you want to hear, full on honeymoon phase situation, and then at some point it changes, it flips, or the real them starts coming out. So after once I started staying over there, things just changed really fast, and I got to see who he really was, right? When I wasn't just going over there a couple days a week, on my own terms, staying in my own place. And I didn't, like I said, I was not keen on the idea of giving up that freedom of having my own space. But like I said, I wasn't really ready to go find my own space that soon. And it was just a fucking cool opportunity. Like, I have zero regrets about trying that out, because it was lovely. Even the shit, like, I'll tell you about some of the, like, things that ended up happening that caused me to leave. But even with that, it still was such a beautiful experience. Like, I feel like, so I get these feelings in my body when I speak truth. And this happens sometimes when I'm coaching my clients, and I get the just intuitive hits that this is the truth right now. This is what they need to hear. This is what I need to be sharing with them. Like, this is my sacred duty. I also get these hits when I'm speaking truth about myself in my own life. So I remember walking around before I had left my condo that I was sharing with the dancer, and talking to one of my mentors about this opportunity that had been offered to me, and kind of like, because he'd been trying to get me to move in there even before I got the word that I needed to live this place. And it was just like a no, like, I'm gonna be in my own space for as long as possible, or forever, whatever. But then, like I said, it was a really short notice, and I'm like, well, shit, like, I do have this backup opportunity. And then also, like, Pimfest, that Acro Festival, was like that weekend. So it was like, how am I gonna find somewhere and move in a couple days right before this festival is happening that I want to be fully present at? Anyway, so I remember talking to my mentor and just kind of talking about, like, the options and how I just really want to live in my own space. And I had that feeling of just like, this is the truth, this is aligned, this is what I needed to be doing. Yet, right, the circumstances of life were what I just told you. So I chose to, not fully ignore that, but put that on hold for a second while I went and took this other opportunity. Which, again, I don't fucking regret, because it actually ended up being wonderful in the sense that it was so awful that when I left at the exact moment I was supposed to leave and went and got my own space, it was just so fucking aligned. And I will tell you those stories of magic in a moment. And it was like, I feel like I was like, it's like the champagne bottle had been shaken up, and that pressure that causes the cork to explode. All right, let me readjust this sunshade I've created for my phone here. It was just like, so when I finally did it, it was so much sweeter and so much better than it would have been if I had done it previous to this experience. So, like, it still would have been great to drink the champagne of living on my own, but that champagne was just even funner and even better and even, like, more sweet and relieving and fucking magical because I'd shaken the bottle up first, which was like the month of living with this guy. So, yeah. Okay, so I'll just give you like some like snippets from this. So, like, supposed to be dom sub lifestyle, and I expressed my concerns like with me actually moving in there, and like what's that going to do to the dynamic, and how important it is to maintain the dynamic that we both agreed upon, because, well, frankly, this is the only dynamic I'm willing to be in at all at this point in my life, because I was like so not wanting to be in a relationship at all. But I was like, fuck it, if like it's this specific dynamic, I'm down. I'll do that. That sounds fun. I can do that. Anyway, okay, so I move in, and like I start to see the reality of like this guy and his issues, and like, psychology is fascinating, right? So like, especially like obviously when like BDSM is something that you are engaged in with your life, chances are it's because you've had a lot of trauma in the past. It can be very healing for, like, it can be an amazing trauma healing tool when you are using it with awareness and intention. But I think not everybody does, right? Because not everybody in this world is aware and using intention. So while this guy had some really great qualities, like I was like he'd been in AA for 26 years. Like he was a person who had overcome his alcoholism and addictions and still engaged. I mean, goes in multiple meetings a week, like fully integrated into that community and like uses that. So theoretically, that should be a place of a lot of personal growth and development. And it's funny because like he would talk about like how much he liked to be self-aware and grow and everything. But dude, this guy had some fucking issues that maybe he just hasn't addressed them yet. Who knows? I think it's obviously it's hard to see our own stuff. But he was an extremely controlling person. And it makes sense because usually, people who subs are usually very controlling in some aspects of their life, so then they want to give up that control in other ways. Right, but I mean, looking at it, it's like this dude wanted a dom in the bedroom, but not in life, and he was very confused because he thought he wanted one in life, but like that was just not the case. Like once I moved in, he just kind of like really flipped. So he was just very controlling about his space, very critical of all of my actions. And yeah, I mean, I was like the first, I think maybe the day or two after I moved in or started staying there, I'd gone to the grocery store, asked him if he wanted anything. I was buying stuff for the festival and like just for the house in general. And I came home with all these beautiful groceries. He starts helping me load them into the fridge, and then literally throws a temper tantrum that the fridge is too full. It's like, what's the fucking point of having a fridge if you can't put stuff in it? I just brought home all these beautiful fucking groceries, like, for us, and you're mad that there's more things in the fridge now. Like, but it was one of those, like, this dude, very emotionally reactive, could not control his emotions. It's kind of like, I've seen this in a lot of men, and perhaps some women have this too, but it's like this, it's like they're fucking children and they have no control over their emotional reactions, and they're adults that throw temper tantrums. And it is the most fucking unattractive thing in my opinion. Whew, oh boy. But being that I'm a life coach and have overcome a lot of trauma in my life and been through some very interesting relationships, it actually uniquely qualifies me to be able to I don't even know if I want to say deal with these sorts of things, but like navigate these sorts of things in a way that keeps my own energy intact. And I mean, ideally, this part of what I do with humans in my work is help them expand their emotional capacity and learn to not react to their emotions and be able to respond in the world. So this dude obviously needed this sort of help. So I'm like, okay, cool. I guess my actual job here now is life coach, among other things. So at first it was like, okay, this is not exactly what I signed up for, but I am being paid well enough to take this on as another role. So first it was like, okay, cool, this is a role that I can also do. But then it just sort of progressed from there. It was like, okay, and now this role, and this role, and this role. And then it sort of got to the point where it's like, I'm not actually being compensated sufficiently for the amount of work that I'm doing. And I knew it was a risk moving in there, that it would severely limit my own freedom, and that is exactly what happened. And so it went from being this really fun, wonderful thing that I was all about engaging in, to okay, not what I signed up for, but willing to do it for the way I'm being compensated, to okay, this pay isn't even sufficient for the amount of work that I'm doing. Because living with him, it was I was on all the time. There was no days off. There's no time off. And then he's just very back and forth. At first it was yes, you can have the master suite, you're my goddess. Then, oh, I want to live in there with you, and this should be our space, and this is my house. And then, oh no, it should be yours. I don't even know what I'm saying. And it was just this navigation that got pretty old pretty fast. And then he was, fuck, dude, this guy was critical of the way I ate, the way I slept, I just felt the way I fucking breathed. It was whoa, dude, this is not what I signed up for. And then this dude's inability to handle his own emotions and his anger reactions. Even if it wasn't about me, to see him freak out, he could not handle life circumstances. For example, if the dog wouldn't come, or the dog knocked something over, even if he spilled something. You know, it was this instant reaction of, fuck, motherfucker, like almost a conniption fit of anger, like he'd like throw a shoe or something. There's just like this outburst of angry, like aggression, like even if it was not directed towards me, it's very unpleasant to be in space with somebody who's in that energy and who isn't able to, again, like control their own emotions. So not a fan of that, although it's still some things I feel like this came into my life for so many fucking reasons. I mean, it's definitely like a karmic relationship, and like I said, even with like these, let's say, more negative aspects of it that I'm telling you about, it was so meant to be for me. And this like this behavior reminded me so much of my ex-boyfriend Preston, who was actually hypomanic, bipolar, truly abusive, but also an alcoholic. So he would have these types of emotional outbursts, but it was actually dangerous to be near him. Like, he did beat me up on several occasions, and he was a 200-pound fucking power lifter. Like, I like to think I'm strong and shit, but I only weigh 110 pounds, 115 at the fucking most, and sometimes less than that. So let's say my biggest self is 115 fucking pounds. Like, I have no chance against a man that size. That's a story for another time. So it's interesting, those relationships, because you learn to shut the fuck up and like get really small and just kind of freeze so that you have more of a chance of not being hurt. So, I mean, I've worked through a lot of PTSD from that relationship, but it was interesting to then be in relationship with this man and how it brought a lot of those things back up for me, because it was that energy was very similar. Now, this person, I believe, I don't actually believe this guy who I was just with was like a bad person per se, but he, certainly had a lot of trauma and a lot of wounding. This dude has a crazy life story. And some things like he had not learned to deal with yet in the world, but that doesn't mean I need to stay around and be there while that happens, if that ever happens. But him doing that was such a similar energy. There was aspects of my dad it reminded me of. There was aspects of Preston that it reminded me of. And it was interesting to see that, like, well, why is this coming up again? Maybe there's something here for me to address. So in the beginning, I found it very interesting, and I felt like, oh, cool, like this is allowing me a chance to respond to this energy differently. It allowed me a chance, because like I'm at this place now that I'm able to stand up to that. I'm able to hold my boundaries, and I do believe I didn't feel like this man would hit me or abuse me. He was also much smaller stature and older, so I think that was also helpful. But also, yeah, so I was able to, like, the first time he tried to yell at me, I was just like, absolutely fucking not. Like, I will not be talked to this way. And that's not something I was able to do in my past relationships, or past relationship. So that felt definitely like growth for me. So there's parts of this, even these negative things, that I felt like, ooh, like, this is here for a reason, I'm here for a reason, like, I want to engage with this because I'm able to respond differently. But then, maybe a week after that, I brought up a growth thing that I was like working on or seeing in a different, like, there was a conversation we had, I don't even remember what it was about, but I felt like he, without realizing it, his actions, I was able to see myself in his actions. He kind of held up a mirror for where I sometimes behaved like he was. And the way he was behaving was very not acceptable and unattractive to me, but I was able to see where I had done that myself. So I brought it up in this growth context of, hey, like, this is what I noticed about me and how I want to approach the world differently. And at first he seemed to understand, and then later that day he like got in an argument with me and brought it up in a way that like I was somehow like attacking him by saying that, and it was just so not what was actually happening, but just kind of interesting that he would choose to do that. And so when he did that, it's like, oh, okay, like I'm not able to have actually growth-oriented conversations with this human. He's just here in my life to show me certain things for me to deal with on my own, but he's not actually safe or okay to do this growth with, because he's not in a place where he's able to do that or grow. So that was kind of disappointing. because I think in the beginning I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, and I think we as humans, me and this guy, could grow together, and I truly believe that was a possibility, and so I wanted to be engaged in this to see if that would occur and that would happen. But like I said, after he moved in and then these few things started to happen, and then I kind of realized, okay, like, he's not that, and that's okay, but I can still, engage in this for as long as it is right for my soul and take my own growth and learning and stuff out of this situation. And I don't know. And then pretty soon after that, he started cutting my pay, which was just, so it's like all these things were adding up. Like my job, I was already feeling like this job is not even compensating me appropriately for the amount of work I am doing. But I guess I am getting enough out of it at that point that I'm still willing to do this, for a while and see if it shifts or changes or gets better. But it basically just kept getting worse, and then he also cut my pay, which was just completely unacceptable. Like, we had entered an agreement, and then he wanted to change that agreement, and he wanted to change that agreement in a way that was completely unacceptable to me, considering I was already doing more work. And my freedom was being so oppressed, and then I was doing more work than the value I was getting, and then also now he wants to pay me less. So it's just like, okay, that's a big fat fucking no for me. And then I was sort of like waiting to see if it still wasn't time to walk out the door, but I'd seen the writing on the wall. So I had started looking for apartments like in my spare time and kind of setting myself up for like creating a exit path for when I needed to use it. And then my friend Jackie was turning 40. And so we were going to go to Mammoth for her 40th birthday. And I had recognized and realized, like, I didn't want to tell this guy that this is what was happening, because I knew if I told him, it was going to be such a negative reaction. He was not going to be cool with me going to my best friend's birthday. And that was then, like, these are getting to the end of the realizations of, like, okay, this situation is just not okay. Like, we're basically getting into abusive relationship territory where I am really truly not able to live my life in a normal, healthy way because of this other person's emotions and how much they're going to be so negative. There's also this situation, so like something else I want to kind of talk about today or some point. I started getting these dizzy spells the weekend of PimFest. And it was really pretty disturbing. Like, I stood up and got really dizzy. And I was just like, whoa, that's fucked up. And I was like, but if I ignore it, maybe it'll just go away. So it's like a passing symptom, not a big deal, nothing to worry about. But then it kept happening. It would be like when I lay down, I'd get really dizzy or stand up. It wasn't every time, it was very inconsistent. It was only maybe 3 to 5 times a day. But when it happened, it was kind of like scary. It's kind of disturbing. I'm like, fuck, is this like a new brain injury symptom, or what is going on here? And then like once it had gone away for 5 or 6 days or a week or so, I was like, maybe I need to like figure this out. So I started just kind of doing some light research. It's like, is this a vestibular issue? Like, what the fuck is going on here? And as I was looking around and stuff, I found out that if the humidity is too low for too long, that can mess with your fluid balance and then mess with your vestibular system and your balance and everything. And I had realized I think it's like this house is like 5,000 square feet or something. Like, it was, I don't know, like 5 or 6 bedrooms, 3 or 4 bathrooms, couple different living rooms, couple stories. So it wasn't like huge, but it was significant size. And he had one humidifier that he would run sometimes. And he had a humidity meter in the house. And I would remember him saying on a couple different occasions, like, oh, it's 20%, that's totally fine. And in my head, I'm like, I don't think that's quite right. So I started looking into it, and like the humidity that's needed for like human health is like 30 to 50%. And like 30% being the minimum. So I realized I've been living in this house where it's 20% humidity all the time, and I kind of looked that up, and it's like, you might as well be outside in the desert. Like, you might as well be exposed to the fucking elements almost. Like, that's the humidity outside in the desert. Like, okay, I think that could be an issue. Further, he had 3 big dogs. I have 2 dogs. That's a lot of pet dander. Pet dander has never bothered me in the past, but I also in my research found out that the lower the humidity is, the worse allergens and dander and different toxins in the house, the more they'll affect you and the more it'll exacerbate. I also know that shit like candles and Glade plugins and all of that stuff is pretty gnarly, and a lot of people are quite sensitive to it. I try to stay away from it just because I know how bad it is, but not that I've ever experienced direct sensitivity myself. However, there's also this candle that he would leave on, like literally for days, and at one point I blew it out at night. He's like, oh, did you blow the candle out? I'm like, yeah, we were going to bed. He's like, oh, you can just leave it on all the time. I like to leave it on because it covers up the dog smell. And here's another thing is that I can't smell after my brain injury. I have about 15% smell in one nostril. So like, A, I can't smell the dog smell, and B, I can't smell all the fake shit that he's using to try to cover it up either. I also didn't realize he was using Glade scented plugins all over the house. I didn't even have this information at the time. Anyway, basically, we have an air quality issue in this guy's house. So I'm kind of seeing these things. So I bring it up to him. I'm like, hey, I've been having these dizzy spells. It's really scary and concerning. I think we might have an air quality issue. Like, can we work on this? Now, if you were a good, normal human partner to somebody, you'd probably be like, yeah, like, that sounds scary. Let's figure this out. Like, do we need to run a humidifier, get an air filter? Like, what do we need to do? Like, let's talk about this. Instead, he freaked the fuck out on me. Like, I don't know, it's like he took this as a personal attack against him or his house or something, when I'm just trying to express concerns about my health and try to find solutions. Argue about it for like 2 fucking hours, and it's like, this is like towards, I had already seen the writing on the wall, but like the more this kind of stuff happened, it was like, wow, like, this is not okay. And then, we argue about this, and then I find like, then he like kind of comes back down to earth, and he's like, okay, like, we'll try to do these things. And he's like, is there anything else? I'm like, do you think we could get a different candle? Because this one he's burning to, not only is he leaving it on all day, every day, which you're not supposed to do, but it's also like the cheap paraffin, toxic fragrances, horrible, right? So like if you use like beeswax and like some of the essential oils or something, this is less problematic than cheap Yankee candles or whatever. And the dude, he freaked the fuck out. Like literally temper tantrum, like ripping his hair out kind of temper tantrum, because I asked if we could use a different candle. Christ. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, but I could just give you example after example after example. Yeah, so what was it? Oh, okay, I guess I'm getting to the end of the story. I'll give you one more, because this one's kind of a fun one. So it's like a Saturday, and we're like, I had taken the day off from macro and training and everything so that we could spend the day together. And we like, what do? We went shopping, and we went out to lunch and like these things that he likes to do. And then we like, oh, we want to go see a show that night. So he like we didn't go to this one for some, like, he's like, so he also, for being super wealthy, he complained about money all the fucking time, which is also extremely unattractive. And it's just not solutions based. Like, I'm so confused sometimes, like, how can you have created that much wealth for yourself while also like being so negative and complaining like all the fucking time about everything? It's fucking fascinating to me. It goes against so many of the laws that they try to teach you. Like, I don't know if I want to call it toxic money spirituality, fucking Instagram and shit. It's kind of funny, but anyway, it kind of all goes back to the lack of emotional control. And I think a lot of I see this a lot in particularly in men, where like their emotions are like, well, A, they just aren't in control of them like at any aspect of their life, and then they also are like super invested in the stock market, and then their emotions are super tied to the stock market. So since the stock market's been going a little bit crazy the last couple months, which it inevitably does in the world, and then it'll fucking come back. It's like the law of the universe is like, it will return. So just like chill the fuck out in the meantime. But anyway, these people cannot do that. So, you wake up, you look at the news, you fucking check the stocks, and then that is your mood for the day. Terrible way to live, guys. If you're in that, I highly recommend learning other ways of doing things. But, anyway, so whatever. It's complaining about money. But we're gonna go to, but yeah, we go shopping, and we go out to lunch, and we go, we're gonna go to a show that night. And so then we so I've had this back thing going on as well. Side note, maybe for another time or not. And then he has some injuries going on, so it's like I couldn't sit, he couldn't stand, so what do? But we agree to go see Chris Angel, go to this magic show. And then I'm like, okay, what seats do you want? He's like, well, you have to get the best ones, because that's what you have to do at the magic show. So they're already like he's complaining about money, but like gonna buy, you know, $300 fucking tickets for this thing or whatever. And then he's like, yeah, cool. And like, so he gives me the credit card to put on the phone. And so we buy the tickets. And then afterwards he's like, oh, what were the fees? You know, and then he looks at the fees and freaks the fuck out, you know, because we bought them on like StubHub or Ticketmaster or something. And, you know, like the fees are fucking part of the ticket price. But yeah, it's a shitty system. But it's like, this is the fucking system. We all know this is the system and we use the system. So why freak out about the system that you intentionally engaged in using? Anyway, this is just kind of par for the course for this dude. So then we go see the magic show, which is amazing, by the way. Chris Angel is fucking awesome. I don't really watch that kind of stuff on TV, but seeing it live was so fucking cool. And when he did one of the illusions where he disappears and then reappears in the crowd, he was literally 2 seats over from me. And it was just fucking wild. So super fucking cool. And he's just like, that dude is so genuine. Like, you can just tell he's like really genuine. It's kind of like a kind of crazy old rocker guy, kind of like reminds me of Ozzy Osbourne, but super rad dude. So highly recommend Chris Angel's show. It's worth the money. It's fucking rad. Anyway, then afterwards, we want to go get something to eat, and like at that point it's like, whatever, we can eat anything. I'm just like hungry, I'll find something to eat on any menu. I knew he was like stressed about money, so it's like we can go to just like the burger place or whatever. He takes me to the fucking steakhouse, the most expensive steakhouse in the fucking casino. His choice. Okay, so you know steak is gonna cost $75 at the fucking bare minimum. Whatever, his choice. So we go in there, trying to have a nice dinner. He's trying to like play his little sub role and let me order, yet critique what I'm ordering. And then whatever, so we have dinner, and then he's like, we're gonna get dessert. And then he's like, oh, do you have milk? Can we have a glass of milk? And I was like, hell yeah, make it 2. I love fucking milk with dessert. Especially at a fancy restaurant, there's just something about that I love. And then he's like, no, we can share a glass. I'm like, no, I want my own glass. Like, just bring us 2 glasses. So the waiter leaves, and he's like, now dessert's gonna cost $60 fucking dollars because each glass of milk is gonna cost $20 and blah blah. The cake's gonna cost $25, whatever. It's math. I'm like, I really don't think a glass of milk is gonna be $20. So I think he might have said 12, but I also like a glass of milk is not gonna be $12 fucking dollars. I doubt it's gonna be $12. But even if it is, like, who gives a fuck? We're already here. Anyway, so then the waiter comes back, and I'm like, excuse me, sir, can you settle a curiosity for us? Like, how much does a glass of milk cost here? And he goes, I think it's $5, maybe $5.50. I'm like, okay, thank you. Like, so I guess one of this dude's other traits is that he'd exaggerate everything. And like, to be fair, like in my story, I just kind of exaggerated. Like I went from 12 to 20. I'm pretty sure he said 12. Okay? This dude would do stuff like that, but like seriously, and not be able to see the difference, like not be able to admit he's exaggerating. Like his math was just like, I don't know, they call things girl math, but this guy had like very specific math that was his math, and it would just be so wrong. Like I train, like I don't, like how can I even say it's like we haven't even seen each other in the last 3 weeks. It's like we live together and see each other every day, and he went out of town once for like 2 days. And then that turns into we haven't seen each other in 3 weeks. And like, he's almost like serious about that. So anyway, it's just wild the stories this guy would create and then believe them and then use that to then like make problems. Anyway, so back to the milk story. So yeah, so then he's like, I can't believe you would embarrass me like that, like blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it was not embarrassing at all. But it's just like, I guess it's projection, right? But it was just wild to witness. Like, this dude who has a net worth of like, I don't know, $15 million or whatever. And like, he did like high level audio stuff. So like, there's like, in any given room in that house, there are speakers that total minimum of $75,000, if not closer to $500,000, depending on what room you're in and what speakers are in there. Like the amount of, it's funny about these things is like, these speakers actually have no value unless someone wants to buy them, right? So just because it cost him that much money doesn't mean he can even get that much money. It's like, this only costs the amount that somebody's willing to pay for it. But regardless, like, there's just so much money revolving in the presence of, you know, this person, and then he's gonna throw a fucking fit about a $5 glass of milk. So this is one of the this day was just so perfect to be our last day together. Because I still was like, you know what, I can like deal with all of this for a minute. I'm definitely working my way out because it's just like, this is too much at this point. But then we like go home, oh, he wanted to help me find a better air filter for my room, but then like couldn't find the remote control, and then wanted to blame that on me, like somehow my fault that this remote control wasn't with this air filter that I had like seen once in my life. So I was just over this dude's attitude by this point in the night. So I go to my room and I'm just like sitting on my computer, I don't know, building my next phase of my life or whatever. And then he, after an hour or so, he comes in my room at midnight and tries to argue with me some more. And that was just like, that was the final straw for me. Like, you do not fucking come in my room at midnight and try to argue with me. Like, it's just not acceptable to argue at night. Now, I've like, he's of the like kind of old school mindset. Like, I've heard this before. Like, some people like, you should never go to bed angry. I completely disagree with this. Like, sometimes like you need time to cool off. You need time to process. If you are too emotionally, like, if you're too close to whatever your emotional capacity is, like, it's not gonna get you anywhere to try to argue more or talk more. And it was definitely one of these situations. This guy was way too heightened, and I was also not really having it at this point. So it's just not acceptable. And I tried to be like, hey, like, this isn't a good time. Let's talk about this stuff tomorrow. And he just would not leave it. So we get in a fucking argument where he just continues this argument, and I'm just sitting there like listening to his vehement energy and not being very impressed by it, because this stuff is like, as much I can handle some, but like I can't handle, or I don't want to handle all of this. Like, it is activating to my nervous system, and it is just absolutely unacceptable to me to fuck with my sleep by like stressing me out like that late at night. So he finally leaves my room. And I'm just like, okay, cool, that was it. Like, I'm done, I'm out. Like, this cannot continue. Like, that was the line for me for unacceptable. So I got on Airbnb to look for places to stay, because it wasn't like an emergency situation. Like, I needed to leave right that fucking second. Like, this guy is not like, I did not feel like he is like physically dangerous. He's not actually gonna hurt me or my dogs or my stuff. Like, he's honorable enough for that. He just has all these other fucking issues. So yeah, I got on Airbnb, and there wasn't anything that was like, there's one place that looked pretty fucking perfect, but it was one of those places where you have to request and then they'll approve you within 24 hours. But like, I need somewhere to stay the next day. Like, I'm ready to go. So I requested to book it, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to sleep now. If I don't get it soon enough, I'll figure out the rest in the morning. So I don't get to sleep till about 3 a.m. because I'm so activated and stressed. And then I fucking wake up like 7 a.m. because that when I'm in that fucking, survival stress place, like, that's how my body is. Like, don't get to sleep much. So I wake up at 7. I'm like, I should sleep more. And then I'm like, okay, I'm like wide the fuck awake. It's like, let me get up and just start packing my things. So I get up, start packing my things. I check my phone. I think it's 8 a.m. And the Airbnb had accepted, and she had sent me a message that it's open and I can come right then, and it gave me the door code at 8 a.m. in the morning. Like, that doesn't happen. Like, usually Airbnb check-ins are at like 4 p.m., right? And the fact that she had messaged me first thing in the morning and given me the door code, which is also an angel number, like, which I kind of love, it was just fucking fantastic. It was like the universe had my back, and it was such a clear sign. Like, I knew I should be leaving, and that was just the sign that was like, absolutely, yes, you are fully supported and you have somewhere to go right now. Because otherwise I was like I had a private acro lesson later that day, and it's fucking Vegas. I can't leave my dogs in the car. I have my 2 dogs. So I was like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do if I leave this house, but like, I can't leave my dogs here. Like, I can't leave my things here. Like, I'm leaving now. It is time to go. But anyway, so it was just perfect. I didn't have to worry about that stuff. I didn't have to find solutions for it, because boom, the solution was already right there from the work I had put in like that night, and then just decided not gonna worry about it. Woke up, it was taken care of. So it was fucking lovely. He actually didn't get up right away, so I got about half of my things packed and out to my car before he got up. And then he came out and he's like, are you moving out? I was like, yep. He's like, are you sure that's what you want to do? I was like, yes, it is. And then he tried to bring up money. He tried to bring up, he's like, oh, well, the reason I was paying you less was X, Y, Z. It's like, we don't need to talk about it. Like, it's already done. No worries. And luckily he dropped it. He sat on the couch and he's like, do you need any help? Or do you want any help? I was like, no, I'm good. I've got it. And I packed the rest of my things. He stayed out of my way. And then at the end, like when I was like basically ready to go, you know, he's like, this isn't how I wanted things to go. And I was like, I know. And he's like, this is really sad. I'm like, yeah, it is really sad. And then I left. Like, and it was hard, but I fit everything. I mean, I had never really moved in because I knew, like, I was waiting to see, you know, what the outcome was, like, how it was it going to be okay? Like, I didn't trust it immediately fully, which is why I never fully moved in. So it was easy enough to pack my things and leave. I mean, I've been living out of a suitcase since I had been till I got this place since October, like since the hurricanes. I've been in like some really interesting situations since then, some really gnarly ones and some really beautiful ones. And yeah, so at this time, so I left and I went to the Airbnb, and I get there and it is just fucking perfect. Like, these ladies were obviously spiritual. I think they were Cuban. There's like flowers everywhere. It's super colorful. Like, all the passwords are angel numbers in the house. It's like perfect setup for me and my dogs as like a private fenced outdoor area that was just ours. Like, this cozy little like kind of apartment thing, and the bedroom had no windows, which is like fucking perfect for me. I am a cave person. I need darkness when I sleep, and like, oh, it was so beautiful and so safe and relieving to my soul. And it was just such an amazing feeling to get out of that guy's space where it was way too open, way too chaotic, and way too controlling. And oh, it just felt so fucking sweet to like walk away. And yeah, perfect little Airbnb spot that I just needed for a couple days until I went to Jackie's for the weekend. But I also was like, okay, well, now it is the time where I have like 6 days to find my basically permanent apartment, because now is the time for that. I need somewhere to live when I get back from Mammoth for the weekend. So I had looked at a couple apartments already. I might have even already applied for one. I can't remember. I might have already even actually put in an application on one. I think I put in an application on one. Maybe that wasn't the same day. I don't remember. I think it was actually before I had even left. Or it was that day. But yeah, so I was waiting for that to come back. But in the meantime, I was like, I'm going to go to some other places, like just to, you know, see. I have the time. I have the ability. I want to make sure I'm in the right place. So there was this first place that I had looked at when I had started looking originally a few weeks before, but I wasn't actually ready to pull the trigger yet. So I came back to see that space because they had taken me to this one specific unit that I was like, I could live here. This one feels good. But I'd seen like 5 other units in the same complex, and none of them felt like that. And when I'd gone back a second time, but they didn't show me that one, so I assumed it had been rented. But then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go check one more time if that specific unit is open. And it was. So I came into it one more time. It was actually even nicer than the first time I had seen it because they had done some like a little bit of remodeling. And yeah, it was open. So I was waiting for the application to come back in this one place. But I also wanted to submit an application on this place because I like having choices, right? So as I'm sitting and filling out the application for this place, I get an email from the other place that my application had been denied because I'm a criminal. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, what is this? Like, so remember when I tried to get my sheriff's card and that whole warrant thing? Well, it's like it was kind of similar, right? It was like, whoa, this is a little like destabilizing. Like, what the fuck is this? And then is this going to show up at this place? And I'm also going to be denied for this place. And then I'm going to be denied for any places. And what is this even? Is this a glitch? Is this a real thing that I don't know about? Is this from when Preston accused me of fucking dog napping and I had to hire a criminal defense attorney and get the case dismissed because I didn't steal my own fucking dog because he's my fucking dog? But the system allows abusive people to abuse their victims through the fucking system? So I didn't really know, and I didn't have time to figure it out in this moment, but I will tell you that fear came up pretty hard. Fear, anxiety, what if? But also, I'm sitting there filling out this other application. Like, it's not like I'm gonna stop. You know, it's like, nope, move forward. Emotional capacity to feel these things. I can feel this anxiety, I can feel this fear, and I can move forward. So And then this place is telling me like that it's like pretty quick. Like I can sit down and do this right away and it'll come back right away. Like because they start with like the background check, the credit check, whatever. So I was just like, all right, guys, anyone, like come, like please, like give me the energy, help me with this, like make this okay. And I hit the button, and, like 3 seconds later, on to the next step. So it's just like, great, interesting, and great. But it was still like, I almost like, I didn't want to breathe. I'm like, let me get all this information in here. Like, you know, I was like, is this real? And then she came and said, oh, congratulations. Like, let's move forward. Like, sits me down at the desk, lets me just show her all my paperwork on the spot. So instead of having to send it away and wait a couple days and go through this whole approval process, like I just sat down and like did it all with them right there at the desk. And it was so cool too, because I like I said, like I love angel numbers. Like it's one of the ways that I communicate with the universe, and it kind of shows me what's aligned for me, and these numbers show up. And like it's just a fun, it's a fun synchronicity. And I didn't know the address on this place yet. And I look down as I'm like kind of going through this process. I look down and the address is 7777. Like, you can't get better than that. Like, what are the chances that I live at 7777? And then even my apartment number is like also kind of like aligned numbers. And yeah, so I just like, I was already getting these signs and synchronicities, but that moment was like, oh, like this is definitely my place. So I sit and just get totally approved, schedule my move-in date, all the things, good to go. Everything's good to go. So I walk out of here. I was like, amazing. Like, I have my own apartment for literally the first time in my life. Like, I've always had roommates or lived with my partner. I've never lived alone. And it's just so fucking time for that. And, but okay, now listen to this. So I leave, drive back to my Airbnb. I literally pull into the street my Airbnb's on, and my fucking check engine light comes on. And if you have at all been listening to my story since the beginning of this, just when I started these Chronicles, like that's been a fucking massive thing in the past, like before I like left St. Pete. So now here I am, right? Like, well, not homeless anymore because I just, you know, signed on my apartment. But like, so like amazing, awesome, aligned things are happening, and then my check engine light comes on. So it's like, I don't yet have a place, like I don't yet have a place to live. Now my car, what's going on there? And this is what I said at the beginning of this episode. It's so interesting how these things came back. Housing issues, car trouble, but at this whole different level. So honestly, like even when the check engine light came on, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, that's funny. Like, it's not like I was happy about it, but I was like, whoa. I mean, it definitely did not create the fear and anxiety that I've had in the past. So I have a little OBD2 scanner that I keep plugged into my car at all times. Best fucking $20 I've ever spent, y'all. If you don't have one, go get one. It is so fucking useful. So I scan the codes, and I talk to ChatGPT. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like, what can I do about this? Because also, I'm supposed to drive to Mammoth for Jackie's birthday 2 days from now. 2 days from that point in time. So I, like, had this Airbnb until I went and stayed with her, and then I'd move into my apartment the day that I got back. And I need to be able to drive there. It's 5 hours away through the desert, through mountain fucking passes where there's no service and crazy roads. Like, this is not a drive that you want to be doing with a sketchy car. So at first, it's like, it was, I can't remember the codes, but it basically suggests, it kind of gives me this roadmap of sensors to replace, says I can do it myself for the most part, start here before you go these other places. So I'm like, okay, that sounds reasonable enough. So the next day, I go and get this thing called a map sensor. I just wanted to have it with me in case I needed it, because I was gonna, like, the car didn't seem like it was driving funny, so I thought it would be fine. Without replacing the sensor, but I just wanted to have the sensor just in case, because it was kind of like, you know, yeah, your check engine light is on, but you can probably make it there. So, go to drive to, so I clean the sensor. It's like, clean it before you replace it. So I take it out, I clean it, I get it back in, which wasn't like the funnest thing to have to do, but it was fine, it was doable. Then I'm like, okay, cool, we might be good now. Okay, I got a call, I forgot to put this on Do Not Disturb, but I think we're good. So then I have the dogs in the car, I have my shit packed up, I get out of my Airbnb, I'm on my way to drive to Mammoth. The last thing I do is stop by Starbucks, and the fucking, the check engine light starts flashing. And when it starts flashing is when, like, you have a problem right now, like, do not drive anymore. So I was like, fuck. So then I'm like, can I at least make it to a park with a covered, like, awning so that I can replace the sensor instead of being, like, out in the middle of the Vegas heat with the dogs in the car and not being able to turn the car on? And so I, like, go to try to do that, but then the check engine light is just fucking still flashing. So I pull over at a 7-Eleven parking lot, turn the car off, at least I'm under the cover awning, roll the windows down, but then you have to wait for the car. I have to wait for the car to cool down to get to the map center. So the night before, it was, like, it popped off no problem. Now, today, as I go to change it in the 7-Eleven parking lot, I can't get the fucker off. And it's like, I'm there for, like, almost an hour. This thing will not fucking budge. And I'm just like, God, please send me some divine masculine character to help me right now. But I'm, like, in the middle of the ghetto. And, like, nobody is wanting to stop and help me at all. And then this beautiful black man with big, long dreadlocks shows up and helps me. And then he, like, went in, he came out, he's gonna call his buddy, and he's like, let me just try it. And he's fucking in there. I mean, it took him, like, 15-20 minutes to pop the fucker off, but he got it off. And I was just like, thank you. I literally asked him to shower seat. His name was Earl. He was a badass. I gave him a hug. He left. Put the new sensor on. Like, all right, cool. We're gonna be good now, right? No. Yes, kind of. Okay, so I start driving. We're good. Get, like, 80 miles, basically in the middle of the desert. I'm like, okay, like, ChatGPT had suggested to stop at some point and let the car rest, and I was like, I need to get, like, a drink or something. So I stop, take the dogs for a walk, let the car rest, go get a drink, and then the check engine light starts flashing again. And now I'm 160 miles away, well, 80 if I go back, 160 miles if I go forward. Until I get, so then I need a new upstream O2 sensor is, like, the next thing to replace. But that also takes a special wrench. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, fuck, what do I do? So I call AutoZone in Bishop. They're like, we have one. And that guy was like, you know what, you should be fine. If that's the issue, you should be fine to just run it. And I'm just like, well, you know what? I'm not fucking not going to my friend's birthday. So I'm just going to fucking charge Ford the best I can. And I had, like, called her to tell her what was happening. And then she calls me back a few miles later and is like, well, we just stopped at a bar and we met this guy who's a mechanic and he's headed your way. So if you need help, here's his number. So that was, like, this cool little divine intervention. I was like, well, I hope I don't need it, but, like, literally, if I break down on the side of the road, I have a guy to call right now. That's fucking cool. But I drive the rest of the way. The check engine light flashed once. I pulled over, waited, got back on the road. It was a fucking sketchy drive, though. I mean, literally, there are 2 hours through mountain passes with no service, like SOS satellite only. But I did it, and my car made it, and my friends went and picked me up an O2 sensor. My friend's boyfriend ended up having that wrench, so then he brought it the next day. So anyway, make this long story short, so then we replaced the O2 sensor. Her boyfriend helped, which is awesome. He's like, I could do it, but it's, like, so fucking annoying. I was like, thank you so much, dude. You just fucking saved me, like, 3 fucking hours of, like, stress and wanting to pull my hair out. So that was rad. Went snowboarding for the first time in 20 years. We had an amazing time in Mammoth. It was so good. I used to live there when I was, like, 19, 20. It was just a fucking wonderful place. It was just so awesome to be back up in the mountains. It's so fucking beautiful. It's amazing how, like, your brain remembers how to do things, especially when you learn them at a young age. It's like I felt like I had been riding the day before. We had so much fun, rode down in bikinis for one run for her birthday. Like, yeah, it was just fantastic. And then I just didn't drive my car all weekend because I didn't want to deal with that stress, because it's like, is it going to be fixed now or does it need the next thing? And then Jackie, so the day before we had to leave, I drove around a bit and it was fine, and then the check engine light came back on and it's like, motherfucker. So okay, now it replaced the upstream sensor, now I need to replace the downstream sensor, but I can probably make it back to Vegas before I do that. And I need to make it back to Vegas because I need to pick up the keys to my apartment and get moved the fuck in. Jackie also is going to come back with me to help me move, but she only had a day to help before she needed to fly back to California. So we did that, check engine lights on the whole time, but the car seemed to be running okay. So I'm like, okay, cool. But I also need to, then my storage place has a moving truck you can borrow, but it had just gotten in an accident. So I also need to rent a U-Haul. Can I tow the U-Haul with the car the way it is? Talk to ChatGPT. It's like, it's probably fine, especially if it's running fine, but it's like still sketchy because the fucking check engine light shit. And I was like, how is this happening again? But also, different level. Way less stress and way less like, okay, these things are happening, but it's not nearly as bad as the last time it happened. Like, I am so much more resourced. I have so much more trust in myself and the universe. Like, I'm just in so much better alignment, and it like is showing in every way, even though it's so weird how similar these issues are. Car problems just won't fucking quit. So we move, but okay, so then my fucking balance issues, the crazy dizziness shit got really fucking bad the day I got back. Oh, there goes my fucking umbrella. The wind is starting. A lovely Las Vegas breeze. Just a second. Well, okay. See, it surely is uncut. We ain't cutting this shit out. If I can figure it out. There we go. Okay, we're not gonna fall down. So where are we? Moving fucking sucked. It was so fucked up. I've never experienced something like this before. Like with my, like, it wasn't just like, now it wasn't just standing up or laying down when I was dizzy. It was like, it was hard to walk in a straight line, like just in general. And I had to move like all day. It was rough. It was rough. But we got through it. Jackie helped. It was awesome. I mean, it had to be done, so we got it done. I had her ride my motorcycle. I couldn't even ride my motorcycle because I was just like, I was not okay. Like, but I got through that, and then luckily, like, it wasn't so bad the next day, and it started to get better. And I looked it up, and elevation changes can exacerbate the fluid balance issues that apparently I've been having. So I'm working on solving that, and it is getting a lot better. It's just like really maintaining the humidity in the house, like really trying to stay hydrated, and like I've been trying to like sleep on a really consistent schedule, and just being here and being grounded and being in my own space finally. Like, having my own space is so fucking lovely. So yeah, I'll leave that there. It's not gone all the way, but it's gotten significantly better. And once I kind of really like figure it out and solve it, it'll just be fucking one more thing in my fucking belt that I've been through and gone through and overcome. Okay, so yeah, where are we? So Car Saga Round 2, Vegas Adventure Chapter 3. I'm in my place now. It's fucking wonderful. Kind of in this liminal space. Like, nothing's wrong and nothing's bad. It's actually just calm. Like, it's calm. And I'm building my empire. I'm not even say rebuilding. I feel like I am building my empire for the first time in my life. I feel like I can really say that. It's like I have learned so many things, and I have done so many things, and I overcome so many things. And I feel like I'm building the bricks of, and I don't even know exactly what that's gonna look like in the bigger picture, but I'm excited to find out. And it's almost like I know there's a picture there, and it's just not clear yet. And I'm leaning into the trust of it doesn't have to be clear yet. It's okay. Like, I'm on the path. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It's a little bit hard to know in any given moment, because now that I am so fucking fully in control of my own life in every way, it's fascinating, right? Because I get to make all the choices. There's very little structure. There's only the obligation that I choose. And that's a lot of power. That's a lot of choice to make on a daily basis. But I mean, I'm enjoying getting to make those choices. I definitely have the but am I doing the right thing? What is the right thing in any given moment? I think there was this, so the last maybe week or so, 10 days or so, I think I have this tendency to go too far into, what should I do? Where should I hold this umbrella? I was trying to hold it so that my phone wasn't in the sun, because it's gonna overheat. But now it's gotten really windy and it's not working anymore. So let me move around some of these things, and maybe I'll just hold this umbrella for this last little bit. I can't even see what is going on with the camera though. think that's keeping it out of the sun enough. I can't tell. Okay, it's gonna have to be good enough. I can go too far into structure, and I think when I do that, when I get too rigid, it's not that useful. So today I kind of really realized that that's what I'd been doing, and so now today I'm trying to kind of relax and let go a little bit more. Like, I've been wanting to film this video, but because I've been so structured the last week or so, I haven't made time to fit it in. So instead I was like, you know what, this feels like the right moment, let me just go do that. So I'm leaning back into the flow, which I think is always like the best place to be. It can be a hard place to trust being, because I think the way we've been raised in this productivity culture, and like especially like my upbringing with my dad as an engineer, and then my Virgo self, and all of these things really lead me to that hardcore structure. But it's and that can be useful. It's like a good skill to be able to have, but all these things are on a spectrum, and I sometimes swing too far. And my life, I think, goes better when I'm living in my aliveness and flowing more. So here I am flowing today. Yeah, so I don't know, I made a couple notes, so I like didn't fucking forget anything, because there were so many things to talk about today. But I think that that's what's coming through for now. Yeah, so I'm kind of in the space of like now just like feeling into what I'm meant to be doing. Acro is going pretty well, other than this like back pain issue I've been dealing with for the last month or so, which I think is definitely related to this like vestibular / fluid balance thing that I'm working on solving. Like, there's always something, but that is also kind of just like, I'm always going to be going through something, because it is my, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, like sacred duty to like go through these things and assimilate the lessons to then share them with whoever is meant to hear it. So if you're one of those people, thank you for listening, and I hope there's some value in my words for somebody. And I'll be back sometime to share more, but I think that is that's what's coming through for now. And yeah, I hope everybody is cruising along their path, and just like also embracing when it's not great, like, because those are also meant, and there is value in anything if we let there be. Like, we can transmute, we can alchemize pain into anything, like into value, into treasure, into pleasure, into things. So there's always a reason for what we go through, and it's just up to us to choose to harness that and to use it to elevate ourselves. So lots of love, and I will talk to you another time.